I will never, ever, 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 ever not celebrate wins. Winning is hard at this level. We put way too much work into this 353 days a year to not celebrate the 12 opportunities that we get. And when we win the football game, no matter how it looked, we're going to celebrate it. Frankly, there's a lot of teams across the country that would have lost that game yesterday. There's a lot of teams across the country that may have had that game get out of hand on them from a score-wise. We didn't. There was no panic by our players and staff. They kept their composure and poise the entire game. We got better as the game went on. If you look at the last 17 minutes, there's so much to build on in the last 17 minutes of that game, just the way we played offense, defense, and special teams, the plays that our guys made. Having said that, we can't play bad for the first, whatever that would be, my math is not good, 43 minutes of the game. We've got to be a whole lot better. We understand that what we're getting into with SEC play is not Eastern Illinois and East Carolina, so we've certainly got to improve. Our players know that, but we got faster. We got more physical as the game went on. The penalties were atrocious again. We've got to get that corrected. Total failure there in a lot of ways of just our guys doing what we need them to do, and that starts with me as the head football coach. Offensively, I thought we did a great job of hanging in there. We had some great individual plays, run game and pass game, as the game went on. Proud of the fact that we got the ball back with 4 minutes and 54 seconds on the clock, and they had 2 timeouts, and they never got the ball back. So you talk about 4-minute offense across football. That is a textbook example of a 4-minute offense, meaning we aren't in hurry-up mode. We're trying to end the game, and took the ball right down the field and run the clock out, put yourself in position to kick the winning field goal, and to not give them an opportunity to get the ball back. That was awesome, and really not your quote-unquote textbook example of 4 minutes. To me, 4 minutes when you're winning and you're trying to run out the clock, but kind of turned into the same thing in the fact that we got the ball with 4:54 and never gave it back. Defense played huge throughout the day, just made play after play. We kept putting them in bad situations offensively with turnovers, and they just kept responding. Just a huge end to the first half. Obviously, the pick six for a touchdown was huge, but realize that East Carolina had 1st and 10 on the 37-yard line going in and had a chance to go up 3 scores, and instead walked out of there with it being a 1-score game, and we ran the interception back for a touchdown. And then special teams was huge. For the second week in a row, we made a game-changing play. Huge kickoff return after East Carolina kicked the field goal to go up, for us to have a big kickoff return. Right after that was a huge, huge, huge momentum play. Great job by Parker White and our field goal team coming in and doing a great job executing some clutch kicks. Great job by Kai Kroger getting a bad snap down so we could make the field goal. What a smooth operation that whole group was, and the way they executed. Awesome by them, and a lot to clean up on special teams, the details of things. We got a lot to clean up, offense and defense and special teams, but couldn't be more proud of this team and the way they battled yesterday. And we told our team at halftime we'd find out a lot about our team, and we certainly did. Injury-wise, we came out of it really good. No issues from yesterday at all. Luke Doty practiced tonight and did more in practice. We're not out on the field long on Sundays, but did quite a bit more in practice than he did last Sunday, so we fully expect him to be 100% on Saturday night in Athens. Rick Sandage is getting closer and closer to being back. He won't be back this week, but he's making great progress. And like I said, nobody else, no other issues from Saturday night. Award winner-wise, as we decided as a coaching staff, our offensive player of the game was Josh Vann. Our defensive player of the game we felt like 3 of them were deserving: Aaron Sterling, J.J. Enagbari, and Brad Johnson were the 3 that we singled out, but there were a lot of guys that played great on defense. Just a bunch of guys. We gave Damani Staley a game ball in the locker room, and some of the plays he made was fantastic. Some of the plays that, individual plays that Darius Rush and Cam Smith made were great. Jalen Dickerson and Jalen Foster, R.J. Roderick played really physical. Special teams-wise, you guys know that we have multiple ones each week. This week it was Juju McDowell, Kai Kroger, Parker White, and Darius Rush, 4 of those guys. And then our scout players of the week on offense was Colton Gauthier. Defense was Andrew Colacerdo, and big week for the Staleys. Damani Staley got a game ball in the locker room, and Bruce Staley was our scout special teams player of the week. So that's kind of a recap of yesterday. Like I said, we got to get a whole lot better. We know the challenge facing us in Athens on Saturday night, but our guys are excited for our first SEC game, and we're looking forward to going over there and competing. So be glad to answer any questions.
Hey, Shane, it's Dave. Just after you've watched the film, was there one glaring problem? Well, why the run game didn't really get on track into the fourth quarter there? Was there one thing that really popped out?
No, not really, and obviously we got to get it fixed and need to be better there. I mean, I can't come in here next week and talk about, well, we didn't run the ball at all for 3 quarters, but then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter we got it going. We've got to be better there from the start. I mean, like some teams or a lot of teams are going to do. I mean, East Carolina was bringing a ton of pressure. There was a lot of movement up front. We didn't handle it well. We got to ID things a little bit better, and like I said last week, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's all of us: wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, offensive line, quarterbacks. But a lot of it was just East Carolina loading up the box, and we knew that there were some boxes that we were going to run into that, frankly, there was going to be a free hat, and we can't block them all, and we made them pay as the game went on with some of the throws that we made, a couple to Josh Van and some of the other stuff that we did for sure. But again, no matter what the opponent does, I mean, we've got to be able to execute. I'm not making that sound that as an excuse, David, but not one glaring thing, just something that we got to continue to fix and get better at.
Hey, Shane, it's Phil Kornbluth. On that last drive, what was it that you and the offensive coaches had seen in McDowell that led you to go with him at that crucial part of the game?
Yeah, I think he's just he's a great running back, and he's just high energy and has a good feel for things, and it wasn't like we spent a ton of time discussing who the back was going to be on that series. I mean, we would have been comfortable with any of them in there. It happened to be Juju. He had a great kickoff return, and he was just playing well, and we got him in there, and he took advantage of the opportunity. But it wasn't like we didn't have confidence in those other guys. Juju was out there, popped some runs. I think Monterio got him out after one play and put Kevin in for a carry, and then Juju kind of got back in there. But all those guys did a nice job, and all those guys will continue to get better. And again, Kevin, and it was his first game action. He's continuing to knock the rust off and did some nice things. Marshawn is playing in his second college game ever. He's continuing to knock the rust off. So all those guys are continuing to get better and better each week.
Hey, Shane, it's Ben. Just real quickly on the offensive line, I mean, I know the pass pro hasn't been maybe quite where you guys want it to be. Just as far as that, what do you need to see out of the offensive line this week against that Georgia front? And, what goes into maybe, improving there week to week?
I think our pass pro has been pretty good. They've done a nice job in the in protections. If we've had issues, it's because they're bringing more than we can block, and the quarterback's got to be ready to get rid of the ball. Or a couple times yesterday, we adjusted the protection at the line of scrimmage, we meaning the quarterback, and, you're trying to guess right on some of the looks that East Carolina is showing, and you try and prepare them for what we think we're going to get pressure-wise. And a couple times, just to be frank, we guessed wrong. But when that happens, the quarterback's got to get rid of the ball, and we've certainly got to be better there. But overall, I mean, when we've, I think overall we've done a nice job with protection. I mean, I can't remember the quarterback really getting hit a ton where we've just gotten beat or broke down. But like always, we've got to continue to execute, and that's running backs and that's tight ends both. It's not just the offensive line. I mean, all of our offense is involved in protection, and the running backs, tight ends, offensive line, we all got to be better.
Shane, this is Mike Griffith. Congratulations on your start, Coach.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, sir. I want to ask you, you've been in those meeting rooms in Bucksmere Heritage Hall. You know Kirby pretty well. You saw how he built his program. What are some of the unique challenges that Georgia presents, knowing what you know about Kirby and how he orchestrates things on game week?
How much time you got? One, they're really, 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 really good. I mean, I haven't spent a ton of time watching them yet because today has been all, wrapping up East Carolina, and as soon as I get off the phone with you guys, I'll get busy on Georgia. But I haven't gotten to see any of their games on television because they were playing basically at the same time we were. But I know how talented they are. But, I think the biggest thing is just I know how he runs that program, and no one in that facility is ever allowed to get comfortable, coaches and players, meaning they're not sitting around right now patting themselves on the back about their 2-0 start and what they've done. They're in there doing everything in their power to get better this week, and that's why they're consistently good, and we know they'll be better on Saturday night against us than they were last week against UAB and probably the week before against Clemson. So that's the biggest challenge, just the mindset that he demands and the complacency that he does not allow.
Hey, Shane, this is Hale. Kind of going back to what you were talking about with the protections ECU was doing yesterday, did they show you all anything new, or was that pretty consistent with what you guys had kind of seen on film leading up to it?
They did a couple things just up front with the defensive line, trying to do some things to disrupt our zone play offensively. They took a couple things from Eastern Illinois that Eastern Illinois had done, but it wasn't like that was a total surprise. I mean, coaches are the biggest copycats in the world, us included, and if you see something that worked well against an opponent, there's a pretty good chance that you may implement an aspect of it yourself. And again, I mean, we've got to be better having our guys prepared, and let's figure out what runs we do best, and let's figure out what our guys can execute. Let's be multiple enough where we can adjust when needed. But we've got to be able to, no matter what defense the opposing team is in, we got to be able to come out and line up and run the football, and we haven't done as good a job of that the last 2 weeks as we're going to have to as the year goes on.
Shane, this
is
Shane,
again. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Shane, this is Colin. Luke, Jody, being 100% and anticipating being 100%. Just what do the reps look like in practice this week? And do you go into thinking Luke will be your starter, or is it open competition at this point? We'll
see how practice goes. Like I've told you guys before, I'm not going to put Luke out there before he's 100%. And everything we do in this program is about competition, and Luke's got to be able to get into live team reps and live 7-on-7 reps and feel good and be able to execute, and then also feel good the next day as well. So we'll see how practice goes. We're only on the field for about 45 minutes on Sunday nights, so that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice will be critical.
Shane, this is John. There was a lot of talk about E.J. Jenkins in the spring and in the preseason before he had to step away for a little bit. He hasn't figured in much to the offense the first couple of games. Just how's he come along since he's come back to the team, and what does he need to do to make an impact offensively?
Yeah. Yesterday was a game where every time you had the ball on offense, you felt like we got to do something this series for sure, and our top guys took the majority of the snaps, meaning Brooks and Van and Joyner. We've got to continue to get other guys in the game and rep them and get them going and keep those other guys fresh. And then anybody that wasn't in the game yesterday, whether it be EJ or anybody else, they got to continue to do it in practice. And this ain't Little League where you just earn the right that you just get to play. You got to earn the right to go out there, and that's knowing what to do. That's practicing the right way. That's practicing with a sense of urgency. That's practicing with the physicality, and your practice tape is your resume. And if you show us in practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and our Friday walkthrough that we can depend on you, you'll be out there. And I'm not just talking about EJ. I'm talking about anybody on our team because, there's there's some other guys that are quote unquote, key guys, name guys, whatever you want to call them, that didn't play a whole lot, for us, and it all comes back to practice. We talk about accountability and competition all the time, and those aren't just words on the wall. We're gonna live by that also.
So again, Josh Fans had a really good. Go ahead.
It's Chip Towers with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. How you doing, Shane?
Hey, Chip. How are you?
Good. I know this is old hat for you guys. The Zeb Nolan storyline and everything, but obviously this is coming home for him, and I guess in some ways it's coming home for you too. Just the nostalgia. Is there any nostalgia involved for him, you think, and for yourself? Clearly this is an SEC game and a business trip and all that, but can he or you enjoy any part of that?
I hope we'll be able to enjoy a little bit of it. It's a really good team we're playing. Certainly it's special for me. Sanford Stadium and Athens is, one of the best environments and best college towns in the country. My family and I absolutely, love the 2 years that we lived over there. Got a lot of friends over there still within the program and without the program. I've gotten text messages from, a bunch of them today. Some of those players on that team at Georgia, we recruited. I was a part of it, and I've sat in their living rooms. So, there's that part of it. It's not the first time I've, gone into Sanford Stadium. I went there with Georgia Tech as a graduate assistant. I went in there with Tennessee as a graduate assistant. I went in there with Mississippi State as a full-time coach. I went in there as with South Carolina as a full-time coach. I've been in there with multiple teams, but certainly it's my first time going back in there as the head coach at South Carolina, and then my first time going back after I had coached at Georgia. So there'll be there's some great memories, but certainly, we have a job to do. And then in regards to Zeb, I don't think there's any way that it wouldn't be. The fact that, kid that went to high school in Athens, family still lives over there, dad's the coach at Oconee County, didn't get recruited by Georgia out of high school. There's certainly going to be some, nostalgia for him, but, Zeb's an older guy that I'm sure will handle that well and not let the emotions get to him. But it's a great environment to play in. It'll be rocking in there on Saturday night, and we got to have a great week of preparation to make sure that we can enjoy parts of it also.
Hey, Shane, what do you see as the Will Muschamp factor in the game?
Very little. And that's no disrespect to Will. There's none of the schemes are alike of what we're doing here compared to last year. He's obviously going to know personnel and about certain guys, offense, defense, and special teams. He's going to know about those guys that he can certainly help them with. But he's got more of a familiarity with South Carolina's team than I do Georgia. But again, there's some of those guys on Georgia's team that were there when I was there. Stetson Bennett was the scout team quarterback when I was there and things like that. So there's, I don't think it's a big deal. There's coaches that coach that are on other teams throughout the SEC that have coached on a different team the year before. And that's just part of it. It's going to be the same question when we play Auburn late in the season, and y'all ask about Mike Bobo and whatnot. There's a familiarity with personnel, but that's about it. But certainly Will knows these kids, but scheme-wise is the biggest thing, and there's not going to be a lot of knowledge about that. But he's a great coach, and certainly unique. The last year's head coach on the staff at Georgia now, but at the end of the day, it gets down to the players, and that will always be the case.
Shane, it's Mark Weiser in Athens. How are you?
Hey, Mark. How are you?
Good. Hey, I wanted to ask you, with starting SEC play, Georgia's won, obviously, 3 straight SEC East titles before last year and favored to win it this year. How do you view the division as you come back now to the league and try to compete, with the Gamecocks this year and beyond?
Yeah, certainly it's always been tough. Haven't really had a chance to see anybody in the division play on television this year. I got home in time last night to watch some of the Missouri and Kentucky game, and it was tough when I was in the league with Georgia. Obviously, Dan has elevated the program at Florida since I was at Georgia before. Coach Stoops in Kentucky have continued to get better. Eli coming in at Missouri has elevated that program since I left. Georgia's only continued to roll along. New staff at Tennessee, so there's a lot of newness, obviously, in the SEC East, and then a lot of the teams that were doing well when I was as an assistant coach at Georgia have only gotten better in the 3 years that I was at Oklahoma. So it'll be a battle, and obviously everybody picked Georgia to win it this season for a reason, and rightfully so. But I see a really competitive side of the division, or of the conference. I'm sorry.
Shane, Dave again. Josh Van's gotten off to a really good start this season. Just what have you seen from him since you were hired? I mean, I know you didn't know much about him before you got here, but just how much has he attacked the off-season prep and then practice every day to kind of get where he is?
Yeah, Josh has been awesome. He's been a great player for us on offense. Has done some really nice things for us on special teams, and he's been a great captain. I mean, great leader for us on and off the field. Just he's very, very motivated, very driven. Just really proud of him and the way that he's handled his business on and off the field since I got here, and credit to him. I don't know, what his issues were in the past, but he's been awesome since day one for us.
Shane, Ben again. Just real quickly, just how well do you know Will, if at all, and have you guys overlapped at all, or I guess how much do you guys know each other just from being in the business?
I wouldn't say super well. I got a ton of respect for him as a coach and as a person. I knew him a little bit just from recruiting over the years. I mean, obviously his relationship with Kirby is well known, and I've worked with Kirby, so there's a lot of carryover from that standpoint. Seeing him out on the road, recruiting at places, and he's been great. Has been very willing to help me since I became the head coach. I mean, I talked to him a couple times when I initially got hired around Christmas or around New Year's, I guess, and then in January we talked about just some different things and somebody that I got a ton of respect for. So I know he's doing a phenomenal job for Kirby over there in Athens, and I know it'll be an exciting night for him on Saturday night as well, and just a really good football coach.
Shane, now that you're kind of 2 games into this season, what do you feel like you've learned about your team through the first, 8 quarters, and what are some things you'd like to see really improve as you get into kind of the thick of your schedule with SEC play starting?
We got the right mindset, the right kind of guys on this team. I told them at halftime yesterday we'd find out a lot about this football team in the second half, and we did. I found out that, not that I didn't already know it, but only confirmed we got a bunch of fighters on this team. We got a bunch of competitors on this team. We got some guys that can make plays on this team. We got some people that are a bunch of guys that never flinched yesterday, no matter how ugly it looked at times, and a bunch of guys that love each other and believe in each other. And that's what I'm excited about. Certainly we've got a defense that's playing really well right now. We've got a special teams that have made game-changing plays 2 weeks in a row. Offense, we've showed signs, and there's a lot to build on from yesterday. We've got to continue to get better in all 3 phases, and then certainly, like I mentioned, we got to clean up the penalties. Way too many of those, and turnovers. I mean, very rarely do you go on the road against a good team like we did yesterday and turn the ball over, whatever it was, 3 times in the first half, and Nick Muse made a fantastic play at the end of the game when our running back fumbled and Nick jumped on the ball when we're driving in there for a field goal towards the end of the game. So we've got to do a better job protecting the ball. That was a huge play by Nick, and we can't put the ball on the ground or turn potentially 4 times on Saturday night. We're going to have a hard time winning a football game ever if we do that.
Hey, Shane, it's Corey. Just a quick question. on Luke. Would you guys have any trepidation of rolling him out there with him not having any game action so far, and the first opponent being Georgia on the road and in that kind of atmosphere?
No. No, when Luke's ready to play, Luke will go regardless of who the opponent is. And when I say ready to go, he'll go. I mean, if we need to use Luke, we're not going to say, well, let's wait till another week. I mean, he's got to get out there and get game action at some point, and Luke's a competitor. So whether it's against Georgia, Eastern Illinois, or the Green Bay Packers, I mean, whoever, when we need to put him out there, we'll throw him out there.
Hey, Shane, it's Phil Kornblut again. You probably want to play the Packers the way they played today. What kind of grade did you guys give Nolan from his performance yesterday?
He was up and down early on. I think he missed some throws and had some mistakes at the line of scrimmage with just some protections and things like that we got to get better at. But he made some great throws. I mean, the throw down the sideline to Van was a big-time throw. The throw on the touchdown that got overturned to Van was another great throw. The throw to Joyner was a big-time throw. He made some really nice plays. The throw to Van that he fumbled on was nice. So he made some really good throws. So overall, Phil, I would say just up and down. But he, like our team, got better as the game went on.
Shane, it's Mark again. You mentioned Stetson Bennett on the scout team when you were here. How do you prepare for, not knowing necessarily if they're going to go with Daniels, if he's healthy, or Bennett, in terms of preparation?
It really doesn't, Mark. I mean, I can remember there in 2017 and Kirby talking about Stetson, the scout team quarterback, and how he used to dice up Roquan Smith and the defense every day in practice. And Stetson started last year. Stetson is a heck of a competitor and heck of a player, and clearly Kirby has a ton of confidence in him to get the job done. The fact that he put him out there yesterday over the other quarterbacks that they have in that program, and that tells you everything you need to know about how Kirby feels about Stetson. So it really doesn't change our preparation at all. It's going to be a fantastic quarterback that they put out there, whether it's Stetson or Daniels. They're going to have great players around them, and you've got two quarterbacks that have proven they can win. So I appreciate you guys. Off to work on the Bulldogs, and see y'all Tuesday at the press conference. Thanks.